Welcome to a new episode of Stitching in Idaho. Shanda, and I live along the Continental Divide in Idaho, and I'm here to talk about some cross stitching and a few little items. I'll put it quilting towards the end. So if you're mainly here for cross stitching, that's great. I have a little bit of cross stitch and about the equal amount of quilting in my episode this time. So I've had a lot of wonderful comments, and I have been really lax in answering. I love to answer each one of them. The last time and with this new position, but it's getting better at my job. It's getting much better. So I will respond to comments, and I am learning that I'm posting every day practically on Instagram for my Stitch Mania. There's only been 2 days that I haven't posted anything, which I will catch up with those 2 starts. It's just that I was visiting my mother, so I didn't do as much stitching as I wanted to. I'm also going to be talking about the first 5 quilts here behind me. I've had several comments and emails on people are wanting me to talk about some of these quilts and my shelf. You can't quite see it in this video, but it's up there and it's full of all my fun little treasure trinket goodies. But I am going to be talking about a few of these quilts here behind me today. First, I want to talk about some stitchy mail that I got. Wendy, I have 2 Wendys in my episode this week. I have a Wendy in Maine, and I have a Wendy here in Idaho that I'm going to be doing a giveaway for here towards the end of the video. But Wendy in Maine, thank you so much. I got another wonderful, beautiful card. These cards are from the Kitten Stitcher, and they're just beautiful. And Wendy is letting me borrow a chart that I want to do, but it's for my daughter. It's called Dear Daughter Blackbird Designs, and she is letting me borrow this chart so I can stitch this for her birthday coming up in August. You got to buy all the blackbirds. I didn't buy this one, and I think I can still get it, but Wendy beat me to the punch and sent me a beautiful card. I want to visit Maine here in the next year or so, and with the current pandemic that is still on, she reached out and sent me this chart to borrow. But not only did she do that, I got a beautiful little, it looks like a matchbook if you look at it, and there's the thing. It looks like a little matchbook, but when you open it up, she sent me a needle and a counting pin. So thank you, Wendy. But I think these are beautiful touches. My favorite touch, though, was she wrapped everything in this beautiful sheep tissue paper. I love sheep, and I think she picked up on that. And thank you, Wendy. I appreciate your kindness. I'm going to get stitching on this right after Stitch Mania. The second thing I want to share with you is I finally have been getting some of my haul from other stores. I don't have any, I have lots of whips now with being Stitch Mania. I do have lots of whips, but I don't have any FOs. Everything has been pretty much finished. I did not get my Christmas at Winterberry cabin finished. So that'll be first on my list in June, and then I'll work on my other Stitch 10 and 20 challenges. But and I will have an FFO for you because I'm picking something up from the framers, but next time I go to Boise, which has kind of been put on hold with all this quarantine, but now I think I can get down there and get in to pick it up. So one of the things I got was my Sweet Land of Liberty. I got this from Acorn and Threads. All the 3 packages that I got today were, or to show today, were very prompt in their service. Owners were wonderful to talk to and to work with. The people that were working there, thank you all so much for your kindness, and it was easy to call up and order what I wanted. But I did get this one, and thank you to Barb and Alma for reprinting some of these. 2 of my hauls today, 2 of the items in my haul were reprints, and I am so grateful that I got this. So anyway, this came from Acorn and Threads, and I did get some thread from her too. I'm just not going to show thread today. I have a lot too many other things to show. Dying to Stitch, bless her heart, sent me several things. I told her to throw in some fabric that I was kind of getting more into the 32, 36s. I'm working on my fabric stash now because I don't have a lot of fabric. And in fact, as I'm working on my Mania projects, because I wasn't getting the fabric that I'd ordered, I had to start them on other fabrics that I had in my stash. So I got 32 count Abecedarian. And this looks like a 13 by 17 piece, so I'm going to start something on that. I got Project Quarantine, Stay Home and Stitch. There's so many that I want to stitch now. I've got to have to be awake 24/7 to do these. Plum Street Samplers, Peace, Love, and Purpose. I'm such a Civil War, colonial history, Revolutionary War buff that all of Paulette's stuff is just sweet, 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 sweet. I love that. Don't know if you can see that. Let me. I'm getting a reflection off of my christening gown over there. Sorry about that. My granddaughter's christening gown that I made is causing a reflection. And one of my new acquisitions that I think for some reason, I don't know why, but this is going to be my 4th of July start. Little Birds, Blackbird Designs. Love this. Of course, I'm loving everything that's out right now. I just love it, love it, love it. And then my last package came from the Country Sampler, Spring Green, Wisconsin. I have been to that store. I love it. Jeannie up there and all her crew at 133 Jefferson Street is just amazing. Who hasn't seen Lisa Kindred Stitcher's Strawberries? So I got this little Deck the Halls book. I'm going to do this Strawberries. They had Cozy in the Pines sampler. It's a Brenda Gervais. Where I live in the Pines. It's not hard for me to social isolate out here because I live kind of very remotely. And then I also wanted Grateful, Thankful, Blessed by Brenda. So I got that one. Got to support those needlework shops. Jeannie up there is so great. And then my second acquisition from reprints is the Summer, Autumn, Winter series. Oh, these are just so wonderful. Winter. And I hope to start these like stat, maybe in June. Autumn and summer. Okay. I had lots, like I said, I have lots of beautiful comments that, thank you for taking the time to comment. When I comment on others' FlossTubes, it is heartfelt. I want people to know that. I feel like I have some of the best comments that people are leaving for me. It's encouraging, and it does take a lot of time to make videos, as most of you know who make FlossTube videos. And I do try to really key in on the questions that they want answered. One of the questions I was asked was my project bags are in the house. when I make my project bags, and I will be showing those as I review the projects that are in them later, each video now, as I have a bigger whip and work in progress. My project bags are pretty stout. They're sturdy. I don't make them with batting, so they're not floppy. They're pretty. If you hold them up like this, they stay pretty taut, pretty straight. In mine, I use the Pellon interfacing that's 71F, as in Frank. I find it's thinner. It's one side is fusible, and I can iron that onto the back side of my project bag, and then they're very, very stiff. They're stopped. They'll stand upright in the box. As I'm going through mania, I don't know how any of you are doing it, but I'm literally closing my eyes and I'm reaching in a basket that I have and pulling one out. So it's just the kind of the luck of the draw each day as I'm starting my 31 projects as to which project bag I'm going to be pulling out. And I don't stitch out here in my studio. I stitch in the house, so that's why they're all in the house. And I'm sorry I don't have one to show you, but they're very stiff. They're stout. They're like cardboard. Really, they're pretty stiff, nice product. And I use the tutorial from, I mentioned last time, her name on FlossTube is Calico. So it's kind of a variation of her project bag with this Pellon 71F, as in Frank, and it's one side is again fusible, so it makes a really nice project bag. The other comment I had was actually on Instagram. I took a picture, I believe it was Friday's, whatever the date was, the 15th. Today is Sunday. I'm probably going to get this edited and up this week. But I had put a picture of this. It's a Housewife. That's how you pronounce it. A lot of people think they're housewives. They're from the Civil War. I made several of these and gave them for gifts many, many years ago. But this is some cross-stitch fabric. There's a button. And then this is my inside. I stitch with this. Sometimes my scissors are in there. I also carry this in my sewing bag to work on bindings. I have my straw needles and some small scissors in here. I like the straw needles. I believe they're size 10. I thought they were 11, but they're size 10. And this is what they look like. Let me see if I can get that way up there for you. Straw needles, size 10. I love those for bindings. But anyway, there's some buttons. I keep buttons on let's get up here for you. I keep some buttons on a safety pin. There's just a little bit of black and white thread on a bobbin, but it's not DMC. It's just for like buttons or whatnot. But I keep this in my sewing bag, and it's a Housewife. And I made these from this book. Remembering Adelia by Kathleen Tracy. In here, I have lots of quilting books. I have lots of quilting books. She spells it out, Housewife needle case. But I believe it's pronounced Housewife when I took a Civil War history class in college. And I can't really show you the directions, but here's a picture of some of hers. And they're just really nice. They're beautiful gifts, wonderful gifts to give to people. But this book is full of different quilts and whatnot. She has 3 or 4. This Kathleen Tracy has 3 or 4 different quilting books. My other favorite of hers is the Civil War Sewing Circle. I get these braces off in September, and I cannot wait. Beautiful book, though. Some beautiful, beautiful pictures in here. Something similar to a Housewife is what the soldiers carried their letters from home in. Just the pictures in this book are just almost reminds me of Joe Morton. Joe Morton, hands down, is my very favorite. But this book is beautiful. It's right up there with hers. It's gorgeous. You can read about this one. Is a sweet letter from a soldier to his sweetheart. So they're almost like history books, but they throw quilting in with them. So beautiful, beautiful books. Also, when I was going through looking for the book that I made this from, I found a current one that throws a little bit of cross stitching with it. It's called Sonoran Borders, Threads of Friendship, all for the joy of doing. And it's more on the Southwestern flair, but there's some beautiful, I can't show you. I mean, look at this Housewife. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. They're calling it a sewing roll up in here. And then there's pin cushions. Like I said, a little bit more on the Southwest kind of flair. The story of my life is wrapped in these threads. Just beautiful reading along with projects. So this was one of my recent acquisitions. Really nice book. So anyway, that's what this is. It's a Housewife. You then fold it into thirds and you tie it shut. And then I just keep it in my sewing bag. So there's that. Okay, the quilts. This red and white one, and I've rearranged. Somebody asked me if they get damaged, and I talked a little bit about this last time. You can tell I've kind of rearranged. Every once in a while I'll come in here and I will rearrange them. This red and white one has 2,700 and some odd 2-inch squares, and I did about knock that off. I did not strip piece this. These are all squares that I had cut out, 2.5-inch squares, and then I quilted this with simple cross hatching through the reds and the whites. I did a continuous curve. So and this one is probably about a twin size. Most of these are twins or laps. So there is that one. That's probably one of my very favorite quilts because I love red. This blue, red, white, and blue one-ish, it's just a log cabin. And the thing that's significant about this quilt is I made it for my son for his Eagle Scout award, just to commemorate that time. My kids got kind of sick of getting quilts when they were teenagers, so I stopped. And now they're in their late 20s and one's 30. They're all of a sudden saying, "Mom, why did you stop making me quilts?" So maybe they've realized that quilts are not going to be there all the time. But I am not ready to give him this one yet. In this 1-inch, or excuse me, in this 2.5-inch border, I quilted all the names of the merit badges that he had earned to get his Eagle Scout award. And then I quilted the date of his Eagle Court of Honor, and I quilted Love Mom. So that will always be a memento of his Eagle Scout project. This one was a kit. Let me go this way. Was a kit from Country Threads. They're out of business now. They were the wonderful quilt store in Gardner, Iowa. And I believe somebody just recently talked about them on their FlossTube. So I cannot remember who it was. But anyway, this was a kit that I finally got done. And I quilted. And this one is more of maybe a very small lap or a table topper. It's not very big at all. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is these are not heavy enough to pull on the quilts, especially since I rotate them frequently and hang them up. This one, I get a lot of comments on this. Let me scoot my chair over here. This one was, in fact, somebody just said, this was a kit, I made it. And I responded back, yes, I know, I bought it from you in Utah. This one I did buy probably a good 12, 15 years ago. It was a kit. It was hanging up in a quilt store. I want to say it was Pine Needles in West Jordan. Wonderful place called Gardner Village that I loved to go to. And this was a kit. This was apparently a kit, and it was from her. Somebody in the store had made it and had it for sale, and I bought it. I couldn't stand it. I wanted to have this little chicken. Back then I had chickens. I love the pine trees. There's a pine tree right there, a couple pine trees, little miniature log cabin blocks. Love this quilt. Last one I'll do today, maybe two more, this one and the other one. This one is unique, and that number one, yes, it's blue, and blue is my second favorite color. But just the Dresden plate here, this part, my aunt, I call her my FA, my favorite aunt, back in Illinois, found there's 9 of them. I actually believe there were 10 or 11. I had 1 or 2. No, I think there were just 9. There were 9 of these at a yard sale for $2 in a Ziploc bag, and she bought them and sent them to me. And I loved them for they're old. Some of these blues are really, really old. I loved them for, they were hand pieced, and I loved them for the indigo blue color that they are. I thought, what am I going to do with these? I tried turning the edges under, and it was kind of uneven because they were hand pieced together. So I still want to do something with these. So this is, I will include some photos at the end, but this is raw edged on here. So it frayed when I washed it. I just did some simple quilting in here and then mounted them on some shirting. So I had 9 blocks that are roughly 12 inches. Then I quilted the whole thing, and I love this quilt. I get a lot of compliments on this quilt, like, wow, you did a lot of work. No, I didn't. They were yard sale blocks for $2 that my dear aunt sent me, and I turned into a quilt. But I did some ribbon candy in the quilting. I did just some 3/4 inch outline. Just some fun quilts. Okay, and the last one is, obviously everybody probably knows this. This is a bullseye. And a bullseye it is a waster of fabric, but it's a great way to use up big scraps that you may have. This is one of the very first quilts I quilted for myself when I got my gammal back in 2004. So it's a pretty old quilt. Just a yellow back. This one is, sometimes I just keep this one in the car, but you wash it and it's got a lot of frayed edges too. It's machine edge, raw edge applique. So that's that. So all of my quilts are, I have 2 stacks over here above my quilting stash. And I need to take these ones down and put something else up. So, you know, you gotta always refold and move and shift around. This week I'm going to continue working on my Mania projects. I am so excited about all the stuff I have started. And I have 2 more orders coming, one from 123 Stitch and one from, it's called Traditional Stitches, and it's in Canada. And they have a Brenda Gervais pattern that I've been looking for. So hopefully I get it in the mail. But I'm going to finish out Mania going strong, and then I'll have more whips, you know, into June as I work on these processes now. But I do post on Instagram. Okay, the giveaway. From the heart, Wendy in Idaho here. She sent me a few patterns, and then the duplicates I kept, and the other ones I'm going to give away. I'll probably do it all in this video. There's 4, and it looks like there are no duplicates here. I'll probably do 3 giveaways, because one of them is her new Sampler Petites Part 1 and Part 2. Let me hold them up like this. Part 1 and Part 2. So if you'd like to win these, and leave me a comment. You don't have to answer a question other than you would like to win this. Put Sampler Petites in your comment. That way I'll draw on that name. They're darling patterns. I know the next one is out. This is Part 1 is A through I. You can see that. And Part 2 is J through, it looks like, R. Oh, they're so cute. Love the urn on this one right here. Love the way it's photographed in a basket. Those scissors. Oh, I'm dying to stitch. So if you want to win these, just leave me a comment. No particular question, but put Sampler Petites in your response so that I know that's the pattern you want. The next one, from the heart, Spring Begins. This is beautiful. See if I can get the glare off of that. So if you'd like to win this one, put in the words "Spring Begins." Gorgeous. And then Wendy also sent Summer Blooms. So you have Spring Begins and Summer Blooms. This has got the complete, it looks like maybe a strawberry is on here, and it looks like a scissor fob, and then a little pillow with the ABCs. So if you'd like to win these, leave me a message and a comment. Leave me a comment, and we will do the drawing for these next time I do a video. In closing, I'm hoping everybody is being smart. Some states are lifting the quarantine. Just be smart for yourself, for your own being. I don't have a hard enough, I mean, I am pretty fortunate in where I live that I practice social distancing just about every day, and it's not that hard for me. But I realize there are people who need groceries. There are people who need to get out. Just be smart about your health. Be smart about where you go. Wash your hands. Just always wash your hands. And happy stitching. I will be back in probably 2 or 3 weeks with lots of whips. I'll have some FFOs because there's a couple that I'm going to be finishing here this week that I've finished up. And just more stitching time. Have a great week.